W-T-L.
I think we got a show. Oh, yeah, we got a show.
W-T-L.
And welcome back, everybody, to WTL. Where's the line? I'm your host, Andy Klassen, joined by
Jabron.
the Parlay Pounder.
You got it. We're back. We're back.
Yes, we are, and we got. This is going to be a really fun episode.
For sure.
So much going on.
Yeah.
We got, of course, Super Bowl 57.
The Super Bowl.
NASCAR's kicking off.
Yeah.
A little shootout we got to talk about.
The Clash.
The Clash. The Association, NBA, college, NCAA basketball.
Yeah.
So we got a full slate on the way. So what the hey? Let's just dive right into it and get into what everybody wants to talk about, and that is Super Bowl 57.
Yeah.
But before we look ahead to some of the player props and opening lines and early line movement, because it's a Super Bowl, of course, it's on the move.
Yeah.
Let's go over a little bit of what was in those championship games, because they generated a little bit of buzz.
They did, Andy. A couple people not happy on both sides, but that's what happens.
It's rigged. It's so rigged.
When it comes to championship games, you can't, these are the four best teams in the NFL, and it's going to shake out that way. But yeah, I split on the weekend pretty much in these games.
Yeah.
I was so high on the 49ers, which was, really, just with the injuries there, Andy, it was just so bad to see. If they could have hung around with the Eagles, I don't know if they could have, but with Brock Purdy, the way that he played down the stretch, it seems like they could have.
Right.
And, just the mentality McCaffrey had, it looked like that they had a full head of steam. It just, the Eagles were just too much for that. The backup, and the backup.
Didn't I see you said their backup fullback was starting to take snaps on the sideline?
McCaffrey was the emergency, and then Kyle Juszczyk was the emergency after that. So that's where they came down to at the end of that game. So when you're in a NFC Championship game against what many are saying the best team,
defense.
the best team
defense
in the NFL, it's not going to work out for you.
No, and that threw off so many, not just it threw off a lot of player props too, and not just the quarterback and the passing yards and things of that nature, but the receivers. Debo wasn't going to get his yards.
Well, and they're just going to stack the box against CMC as well. So if you had rushing yards for CMC, that's not going to hit. Rushing yards for Debo's not going to hit now because they're stacking the box, making Johnson, throw it down the field, and then when he goes out, they have nothing to do but run, which they didn't the whole second half. They tried doing some reverses, some halfback passes and stuff like that, but the Eagles are going to sniff that out because they're like, you have no quarterback.
We know what you're doing.
Exactly.
We know what you have to do to try and move the ball at this point.
Yep.
And I thought it was pretty funny how everyone's like, wow, Ndamukong Suh, he's still looking good.
Oh, really?
Husker shouted, just takes the whole year off except the last 4 or 5 weeks.
I wonder who's going to be in the Super Bowl. The best team in the NFL? I'll get on that team.
That sounds good to me. While this other guy next to me,
he called it on Twitter way back when. They asked him what he's going to be doing. Probably hanging out in Arizona with his buddies.
So good for Sue.
Yep.
And picking another winner, in the later stages of his career.
For sure.
Isn't that just another knife twist in the side of Detroit fans?
Oh, for sure.
The prime of his career was just, I don't want to say wasted, but what do you say?
It's literally Ndamukong Suh and Matthew Stafford had him, and Calvin Johnson had him for all their primes. Couldn't win a Super Bowl. Matt Stafford leaves next year, Super Bowl. Couple years after Sue leaves, gets to the Bucks, Super Bowl, and he has a chance to do it again.
Like when they had their good years with Megatron and Stafford, and wasn't it Farley and Sue were the two tackles?
For sure.
Oh, they won 11 games.
Yeah, pretty good.
That was
made the playoffs. Made the playoffs.
I didn't mean to throw shade at Detroit there. It's just a low-hanging fruit.
It's what happens.
But I did feel bad for San Francisco. We didn't get a fair shot from them. I don't think we saw. I don't think the Eagles had to expose much of their hand either.
No, they didn't.
They really put the brakes on their offense,
they
especially
did.
in the second half.
They did. Well, they were just kind of playing keep away. Don't get Jalen Hurts hurt any more than he already is.
They're still running quarterback reads.
Exactly. And had their fourth and fifth string running back out there as well. So, no, they got the full playbook going into this Kansas City game. So it's going to be a good game.
And, Sirianni is just so arrogant. Give him his due.
Yeah.
He's winning.
For sure.
So he gets to stand.
He gets to do that.
Yep. So
keep winning.
Take it.
Yep.
I mean,
but yeah,
give Philly their day in the sun
for sure.
All right. Should we talk about the AFC?
Let's
game?
do it, Andy. And this is one that we're kind of both. We're looking at the same way.
Yep.
If you're getting points either way, if it gets over 3, probably take it.
Jump it.
Which either side.
Mm-hmm.
I just said hammer the money line for the Kansas City Chiefs, and it ended up that's the way
Nailed
it went.
Yep.
Also hit a good prop bet with Travis Kelce, anytime touchdown scorer. That's just a given nowadays, Andy.
It is.
And
it really is.
And be looking for that one in the Super Bowl, because anytime these guys are within 10 yards, Travis Kelce is the main circle on the field. Defense still knows it, and they still can't stop it.
That's Jason's little brher. Did you know
the Kelce Bowl?
Jason Kelce's little brother is going to play in the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
It's kind of neat.
It's crazy, yeah.
I heard something about
nobody's heard of him before. He's only like a 7-time first-team All-Pro. But no, but like we were saying, this Bengals game we knew was going to come down to the last drive, Andy.
Yeah.
And Burrow had a chance.
God, that was wild.
It was wild
game.
And then
turnovers,
fumbles.
Joey B
penalties,
running up penalties. My God, and it's so funny. You listen to which we're close to Kansas City,
for sure.
So we hear a lot of that chatter.
We're on the red side for sure,
and the refs are out to get us, and all this other stuff. And now it's the Bengals' turn to say, no, the refs are out to get us.
Everybody wants Patrick Mahomes to win a Super Bowl.
Yeah.
I don't know if that was true, because a lot of people were behind Joey B as well. So
the refs let him get his leg broken the week before.
Right.
So they let the play.
No, and if you literally look at that last play, he was totally out of bounds. Just don't hit him. He's the most popular player in all of football. Don't touch him when he goes out of bounds. You go into overtime and anything can happen.
Right. It's a coin flip, and maybe you can get a score and put the pressure on them.
Yeah.
But yeah, you gotta pull back there. You gave him that extra 15 yards, and then that was just cash money. Too easy.
For sure.
For the 3-point field goal win, which did cover because the line moved right at the end there.
Right there.
Got that half point. Bengals plus 2.
Yep.
And Bengals had their chances. They
had their
chances.
Shots. Andy, and
I thought they were going to win that last turnover. Oh my God, it's happening again to Kansas City.
Yep.
It's happening again.
It's coming in down to the stretch where Joe Burrow is going to steal the show, and that's what happened. But if you would have told me last week, Andy, that there was only going to be 43 points scored in this game, and the Bengals were only going to account for 20 of them, I would have had a hard time of believing that the Cincinnati Bengals were going to score under 3 touchdowns, because you just didn't see any reference of that in this playoffs.
Not at all. And you still had some lingering injuries on the defensive side for Kansas City.
Exactly.
And you had Snead went down and didn't come back.
No. There was a backup the whole entire night.
And they couldn't dice him up with Jamar Chase, T. Higgins, Joey B. Yeah, but when he trotted out there after that last turnover about midfield, I'm like, is he going to just put his shades on and just do this last drive with his shades on?
He could have done it.
Damn cool.
Just light up a stogie and walk out on the field.
I mean, I wouldn't put it past him.
I was waiting
not?
for it. I was really glad the Chiefs won, but it was a really, really good fought AFC Championship game.
It really was. And go back to the NFC. That one did, and I mentioned last week, I could see value if it got to +3, which we thought it might. It did, but I did not take San Francisco.
Yeah.
I was content with my Philadelphia money line bet. I just left it sit right there. Plus, I was checking the kids into vacation, and it was a mess and blah, 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 blah.
We all got it.
But guess what? We got within the first hour of checking into our hotel room, we got a noise complaint. So
that's what happened.
It
was just like Arrowhead.
It was like Arrowhead. That was pretty fun being in Kansas City.
For sure.
A lot of Mahomes jerseys running around. That was for sure. Should we talk about opening lines?
Yeah, let's do it, Andy. Let's do it.
All right, so this is going to be at State Farm Field in Glendale, Arizona.
You got it.
Not this weekend, the next weekend, do that extra week in the NFL. Now, this line, I mean, just like all Super Bowls, opened at a -1 Kansas City.
Yep.
Okay, and then within 5 hours,
flips.
It moved all the way to moved to -2. It did flip.
Yeah.
It flipped early, but then it flipped back. But it got up to -2 Kansas City. Now it seems like it's really settled out at that -1, basically a pick'em type scenario.
Basically a pick'em. Some books still have it -1.5 towards the Eagles. The Kansas City Chiefs grabbing a point there. If you feel like that's the way that you want to go, Andy, and if you're on the Chiefs, I would just go with the money line bet right now at a plus 105.
Yeah.
If you're on the Chiefs, get the plus money.
Yep.
That 1.5 doesn't really mean much to me because I think it's going to be decided by a 3-pointer again.
Yeah.
So
Yeah.
if you're on the Chiefs, take the value with the plus 105. I really like it right now.
You're not scared. What kind of gives me a pause?
Yeah.
Is all the injuries that Kansas City has. Not only we talked about the defensive ones,
yeah,
and in their secondary. And say what you will, but Jalen Hurts, he's been off the last couple of weeks. He missed A.J. Brown wide open
Big
a couple
time.
times. You can see he's not accurate like Mahomes. Let's just call it what it is. He's not he leans on that zone read.
For sure,
running game.
Which he should. That's his game.
That's fine. That's fine.
The only thing with me, Andy, is I just think with the way the Kansas City Chiefs are, with the head coach, with the two superstars, the guys that have won a Super Bowl, Mahomes has the swag. Not saying that the Eagles haven't done this all year and haven't won a Super Bowl in recent years, because they have. I'm saying I'm going with the superstar. I'm going with the superstar tight end, quarterback, and head coach to win this Super Bowl.
Yeah, and figure it out and not drop another one.
Yep.
But with Kansas City, I do want to watch this following week. The injuries, more important to me, are the receivers. Juju Smith-Schuster, he went out. He left the game. He did not return. That coming out as a knee injury, and of course they're being quiet about it, so he's listed as questionable.
No doubt.
Hardman's still out. You also got two other receivers on the injury report. Questionable.
Yeah, if they're relying on MVS to be the top guy other than Travis Kelce, they might be able to blanket Kelce a little bit more than another team would.
Yeah.
But the way that MVS played last weekend was crazy. Just emerged as a number one receiver. So I'm not too scared about that, just because I know Mahomes can get the ball to anybody.
You heard the horn there. Let's go over one player prop that we want to keep an eye on moving into next week.
My biggest player prop right now is Super Bowl MVP, Andy, for Patrick Mahomes. Plus 130 right now.
Yeah.
Jump on it. I think it's going to hit.
Yeah, and that is just solid.
Yeah.
That is solid, because if the Chiefs win, that's almost a lock for him to get.
It is.
The only way that wouldn't go to him is if Kelce had like 3 touchdown passes and he caught a couple bad passes to afford those.
Or ran one in or something like that.
A defensive back gets 2 picks. Something goofy.
Something goofy. One of these two quarterbacks is probably going to be the MVP, and Mahomes is definitely I think the leader in it. So I would take the plus 130 right now. Put $100 on it to win 130, easy money.
I'm looking at Kansas City too, and I'm reaching a little bit more here. I'm looking at total receiving yards. We talked about the injuries to those receivers.
Yeah.
Pachenko finally came out. They were holding that. They were holding that back, holding that back.
Yeah.
He had a big couple of last games.
For sure.
Because he had to play receiver.
He did.
A lot of the sharps that I kind of follow, and I like to see what they're doing, they were saying if it's 12 and a half or less, jump all over it. I just see a really good odds from PointsBet, that book, 10 and a half. I am on it. Give me Pachenko going over 10 and a half yards receiving. Even if those guys do come back, they tend to leave the game injured sometime.
Yeah, no doubt,
and
Andy.
Pachenko is going to take all those snaps, this week and the last 2 weeks at receiver.
And a great thing about a bet like that, Andy, is he can do that on one play.
Yeah, one play.
Which is great. And if you're looking back, against Cincinnati Bengals, he had 5 receptions for 59 yards.
Bingo.
So big time cover. I think that's a good bet as well. So I'm with you on that.
We'll keep our eye on it. So you heard the horn there. That means we're up against it. But before we let everyone go, let's take a minute to recognize one of our fabulous partners. That is the Nebraska Brewing Company. As always, went back to my old reliable, the Cardinal Pale Ale.
Taco Vesa, all day, every day.
The Mexican lager. It's light. I mean, you can't have just one. It's like a potato chips.
It's just like the Lay's. Pop a top.
Yeah, just
pop a top.
Give me the whole 6-pack. Nebraska Brewing Company, world class in every glass. Don't go anywhere. This is WTL.